The Otago Peninsula. It's the wildlife capital of New Zealand. But it hasn't always been so abundant in wildlife. The hard work of a number of dedicated people has made the peninsula the wildlife sanctuary it is today. The Planting for Penguins program at Pilots Beach is just one of the endeavors that help restore and maintain the Otago Peninsula. The program allows school children to get involved with the restoration of Pilots Beach. The kids get their hands dirty weeding the hillside and filling it with native plants. Over the last 2 years, approximately 10,000 plants have been planted in the reserve for a very important reason. The plants provide much-needed shelter from predators for the little blue penguins that nest at Pilots Beach.
If you had been out here in the harbour about 1900 and looked up onto the hillsides, from the top of the ridges to the edges of the harbour was covered in lowland coastal bush. And it's the aspiration to return this reserve back to that habitat. We want to enable enough vegetation down here when they come up, they can feel safe resting before they walk up to where their nests are.
But it's not just the planting of native bushes that help to successfully restore Pilots Beach.
So, Pilots Beach, huh? How do you restore that? You know, it depends on what you want it to become. And I suppose you want it to become as good as it used to be before people were there. Well, you'll have to get rid of rodents and things like that, but you also, I feel, have to look at the little creepy crawlies that make up Pilots Beach, that do all the ecosystem services, that function by changing the organic material into compost, that make plant growth possible. You have to think about all these things, because it's my little bugs that makes the world go round. Don't you ever forget about that. So what we've done with the kids, for instance, today, you know, they've replanted it and all that sort of stuff. We looked at penguins and how they poop everywhere. Who cleans up that poop, huh? So how do we get those cleaner-uppers back into Pilots Beach? Well, I've got news for you. They're already there. We found them, you see.
Gone there. We got there everywhere.
Oh, is it gone, is it?
Yeah, we got it.
You found it, okay, put it in the container.
Then we need creatures that convert organic material, fallen leaves, dead grasses, back into compost, back into fertilizer for the next generation of plants. And guess what? They're there too. So there is stuff still there, and we have to build on that. Take us over, have a look at that. So what you're doing is you're opening the whole thing up, and what do you find in here? A spider hanging in its web. So a spider used that old tube to have a retreat. Restoration is about the environment, it's about getting our species back, but it's also about community and the kids. And the Air New Zealand Environment Trust and Kids Restore New Zealand know that, because we got the kids to do some surveys today to see what's there and what's not there, maybe. And basically what we need to do with the kids in terms of education is keep them going with this project. So the flea becomes a pupa. Now the cool thing about a pupa is a good stage to overwinter in, to oversummer in, to have no food in, because you don't do anything, you just develop internally. You don't have to eat, you don't have to move.
Last year our nest count had 185 nests in use, 160 nests the season before that. But we also know that 12 years ago there were only 30 pairs of little blue penguins left in this reserve. So we know the work is having the right effect on improving the habitat, but also the breeding success of the penguins in this reserve. Get the kids, get the teachers, get the school, get the community, get businesses to sponsor it, and make this a project that everybody learns from and everybody's involved in. And then we are truly restoring Pilots Beach.